We learn something from everyone who passes through our lives. Some lessons are painful, some are painless, but all are priceless. Happy morning to all. Today we shall learn about how does a computer work. Under this topic we are going to see about input, processing, output and working of a computer. Basically, computer is an electronic machine used for different purposes. It does a lot of useful things for us. For example, play games, listen music, doing calculations, draw pictures, write letters, store letter, drawing, to do a lot of things very fast, etc. Computers never do mistakes. If there is any mistake, it is because of your instruction. Computers save time as they work very fast. Also, less number of people are required to do the work. Unlike human beings, computers never get tired even after working for long hours. So, computer is a wonderful electronic machine through which we can read, write, draw, play games and do calculations. Now, what do you think in your mind? How does a computer work? Does it work on its own? No. We have to tell it what to do. How do we do that? We give instructions to the computer using some of its parts. Yes, computer is made up of many parts like monitor, CPU, keyboard, mouse, speaker, printer, etc. All the parts can be divided into three main parts. Those parts are called as input, processing, output. So, computer works on input, process and output cycle. How can all the parts of the computer can be divided into three parts like input, process and output cycle? Based on the uses of devices, it can be divided into three parts like input, process, output. So, how can we identify input, process and output devices among all the parts of the computer? Let's see some practical life examples to understand that input, process and output formulas in the computer. What do we do to clean our dirty clothes? First, we take our dirty clothes and put them into a washing machine with water and washing powder. Here, we have to put all the dirty clothes inside the machine. This is the example of input. Next, a washing machine runs and cleans our dirty clothes. So, some processing is going inside the machine. Automatically, it's doing something inside the machine. But whatever processing is going inside, we cannot see that. At the same time, it is very, very important to get output. So, while washing machine runs and cleans our dirty clothes, which one is an example of process. Next, output. When we take out the clothes and spread them in sunlight for drying, it's an example of output because no more work is there, which means we got results. Drying clothes, clean and drying clothes. Next, making tea. We need some ingredients to make a tea. For example, water, milk, tea powder, sugar and vessels. First, we have to add all the ingredients into the vessel. While we add all the ingredients into the vessel, that activity is the example of input. Next, all the ingredients boiling together. However it is boiling, we will get tasty tea, isn't it? So boiling of tea is the example of processing. Then we will get a tea. Tea is an example of output. Next, making an omelette. Egg is an example of input. Next, we want to beat the eggs with salt. Beating the egg activity is known as processing. At last, we will get tasty omelette is an example of output. One more example, sharpening a pencil. New pencil is an example of input. Then, when you sharpen your pencil using sharpener, it's an example of process. Now you can write using this pencil because tip is there. So this is the example of output. This is a cycle of input, processing and output, also known as IPO cycle. It's also followed by the computers. Let's understand this process in detail. Input. The instructions that we feed into the computer are called input. The mouse and the keyboard help us to give the input to a computer. If you want to type numbers and letters in the computer, you have to use keyboard. To draw pictures, have to use mouse. So, keyboard and mouse both are used to give information to the computers. So, keyboard and mouse are the example of input devices in the computer. Next, processing. Now you can see CPU picture on the screen. The full form of CPU is Central Processing Unit. It works on the instructions that are entered into the computer. The role of CPU is like a traffic policeman. This control unit monitors the functions of all the parts of a computer and the functions to be executed by these parts. It's so important part of a computer, that's why it's also known as the brain of the computer. This is the example of processing unit. Next, output. The result that is displayed after processing is called output. A monitor and a printer give the output. By using those devices, the result is obtained from a computer. Monitor is an important output device because it displays all the information on the screen. Now you have understood that how to working on a computer. A computer does not work on its own. We have give instructions to the computer. These instructions are called data. The computer and its various parts work on this data and produce output. Thus, a computer follows 3 simple steps: input, processing, output. Finally, computers consist many parts such as central processing unit, keyboard, mouse, scanner, joystick, monitor, printer, plotter. The computer parts can be grouped as input unit, central processing unit and output unit. Input is the set of instructions that we give to the computer. We use a keyboard, mouse, microphone, etc. to provide input. We use a keyboard, mouse, microphone, etc. to provide input. The computer executes the instructions. This is known as processing. CPU is an example of processing device. The results that are shown after processing are known as output. Monitors and speakers are some examples of output devices. Children, I hope you have understood that how does a computer work. If you have any doubt, you are always welcome to ask me. Thank you, children. Have a good day.